Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Hbse I. We're going to start our lecture at this time. I'm so glad that you are with me, and we want to continue on, and hopefully you have begun doing your uploads into coursework, your PowerPoint presentation. Many of you have begun doing it, and I am so glad, and I have graded your work as you have placed it into the system. Now, what I need you to do is to continue to be involved in what's going on with the lecture. As you know, I've sent you emails, I've given you my telephone number to call me if you have questions or concerns, and hopefully that you will do it. Many of you have been contacting me, and I appreciate it. So let me give you my phone number once again. It's area code 318-470-2608. If you have any concerns or questions, please text me. Identify who you are and the class that we're in so that I can make myself available to help you with any issues that may be coming before you at this time. So let us begin with this lecture. We are on lecture chapter 3, and this is the lecture, and you're supposed to put in your own words 5 PowerPoint slides to me so that I would know that you are understanding what we're doing and that I can grade you based on the information and the feedback that you are giving me. Remember, it must be in PowerPoint form. Be sure and list the subject and your name. So this is the subject up here: psychological development in infancy and childhood. So we will begin. We're working with Freud at this time, Sigmund Freud. As you know, he was a psychologist. And so Freud would say that the superego portion of the mind tells a person who finds a $10 bill blowing around a parking lot to return it to the lost and found department of the nearest store. Now, you need to know the definition of the superego, and you need to look that up. You might want to discuss the 3 dynamics of development that Freud uses, and I'm going to state them for you. He used the id, the ego, and the superego. So you may want to define each one of them and discuss each one of them in one of the slides, each slide. So you might want to do a slide on one of them. So that's 3 slides going right there. You might want to talk about Sigmund Freud. That's another slide that's going to tell who he is and what he's about. Get a little history on him, a little autobiography, 5 sentences on Sigmund Freud. And that's the 4th slide. So your 5th slide could be talking about stages of psychosocial development. So let's look at number 2. Freud hypothesis that people pass through 5 stages of psychosocial development in the following order. And it's called oral, anal, phallic, latency, and genital. These are the 5 stages of psychosocial development according to whom? Sigmund Freud. Number 3, according to Freud, the anal stage occurs between ages 1.5 to 3 years old. So you might want to define each one of those. And there you go. That's all 5 of your slides. You can talk about the 5 stages of psychosocial development according to whom? Sigmund Freud. And then you discuss each one of them on a slide. Then there's 5 of them. That's it. You've done it. According to Freud, the anal stage occurs between ages 1.5 and 3 years. So just talk about the anal stage. What is that? What that's about? Freud believed that a person unconsciously contributes to his own unacceptable ideas or impulses to another through a defense mechanism called projection. So you might want to talk about the various defense mechanisms. Like I told you, you can Google and you may use and find out about Sigmund Freud, what his hypothesis is, what he talks about, what his developmental stages in infancy and childhood, what is that about? So you may want to do 5 slides on that. All right? According to Freud, the latency stage usually begins at the time when the opus electral complexes are resolved and ends with puberty. So you might want to discuss that, as I said, the different stages. So you might want to understand what is the opus electral complex is. Number 6, Neo-Freudism theorists also refer to as ego psychologists. Then you say number 7, it is true that Erich Fromm used psychoanalysis as a tool for understanding the behavior of political leaders. So you might want to know about Erich Fromm, who he is, what he's about. All right? Then we have also some things that we can talk about him. Number 8, the feminist theories. Talk about the feminist theories. The feminist theory, what is that about? The feminist theory is an example of the principle of elimination of false dichotomies would be acknowledging and appreciating a balance of traits for each male and female as an individual. Now you might want to talk about that. What are they talking about there? Explain that to me. Number 9, all of the following we'll discuss in the text according to evaluation of theory. You want to talk about evaluation of theory. Elevate the extent to which the theory coincides with social work values and ethics. Evaluate the existence and validity of other comparable theories. And evaluate the theory's application to client situations. So you might want to talk about the evaluation of theory. In the 1960s, social work began questioning the usefulness of what? The medical model. Y'all might want to check out who is the one that discussed the medical model in social work. There's a lady who is responsible for that. And you might want to know who she is. And she brought in about the clinical social work aspect. And she also was a nurse and went back to school and became a social worker. She's the one brought in the case management piece in social work. So you might want to find out who this lady is and do some information about her. I already know who she is. I'm not going to tell you. I want you to find that out for yourself. That's called doing a little research, okay? Now, number 11, being sensitive to diversity when examining psychological theories was discussed in the text. So check your book out, it'll tell you a lot of information. All of the following was cited. In Japan, sexuality has been minimized and regulated as being tangential to the performance of responsible duty. Navajo families maintain a reference for heritage based on the female line. And Hindu mothers often teach their children how to control their emotional behavior. In Piaget's writing, taking in new information and integrating it into the structure of thought is called assimilation. Now I want to talk about Piaget. Who was he? Well, we know the name sounds French, so that meant he was what, a Frenchman. So that tells you a little key right there, but you might want to talk about what did he do? What was his theories concerning the development of childhood and infancy? During Piaget's sensory-motor period, a child progresses from simple thoughtlessness, reflex actions, to a basic understanding of the environment. According to Hbse, centration is considered a major obstacle to logical thinking during the pre-operational period. So, he had some theories. He had the pre-operational period. He also talked about the sensory-motor period. So he had periods that he used in his theories, and that's based on cycles. Elaboration is a method of advanced information processing approach for increasing retention of new information by relating it to well-known information. Elaboration. Vygotsky's zone of proximal development. You might want to talk about Vygotsky. He talked about a zone of proximal development. And he said it is the difference between what a learner can accomplish independently and what he or she can accomplish with the guidance and encouragement of a more skilled partner. Okay? That's proximal development. It's a difference on how a person can accomplish independently or how they accomplish with someone helping them. That's what he's basically saying. The criticism of Vygotsky's theory includes collaborative problem solving among peers may actually undermine the task performance if the more competent collaborator is not very competent. Social smiling occurs when the infant smiles upon seeing or hearing the mother or father. From age 8 to 18 months, infants search out their caregivers and try to stay close to them, and they begin paying closer attention to the caregiver's reactions to their behavior and often respond accordingly. Between the ages of 8 and 18 months, what they're saying here is that the child or the infant start noticing their caregiver and start wanting to be close to them, and they pay attention to how the caregiver reacts to their behavior, and then they'll respond to those actions. That's before they make 2 years old. And after they're 6 months years old. Infants who show an anxious, resistant attachment are very cautious in the presence of the stranger. And their exploratory behavior is noticeably disrupted by the caregiver's departure. In Hbse's exploration of self-worth, both younger children and older children stated that behavior conduct was the least important variable. Hbse's research regarding children self-esteem found which of the following. And this is what it found. The most important people to them were parents and classmates. Children's self-esteem found, according to Hbse's research, children's self-esteem found the most important people to them were the parents and the classmates. Crystallized intelligence. Now, let's see, what is crystallized intelligence? Crystallized intelligence involves intellectual abilities that emphasize verbal communication and involve the ability to learn from others in the social environment through education and interaction. Let me repeat that. Crystallized intelligence involve intellectual abilities that emphasize verbal communication, and it also involved the ability to learn from others in the social environment through what? Education and interaction. A Hbse in the intelligence test score of 100 is considered average. So if you make 100 on the intelligence test, you're considered to be an average individual. And that's according to Hbse. The synthetic era of giftedness involved the ability to be insightful, creative, perceptive, and imaginative. So you must have an idea, you must imagine it being well, and you must have insight and be creative and perceive how to get it done in action. That is considered a synthetic area of giftedness. With that being said, we will continue with the lecture on tomorrow, which is June the 13th, 2018. Please get your work in. We need to get this done, and because we only have another week left, and that's where your grade's going to really come into play, and we're going to get everything situated then. Hopefully all of you will make an A, if not a B, no less than a B. You know, I always try to get my students to get at least a B in my class, but some of you may not get that. But I hope and pray that you get at least a B in my class. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Looking forward to getting your information. I'm looking forward to seeing your PowerPoint presentations. And we will go from there tomorrow. And God bless you and keep you until we meet again. Thank you, and I'll talk to you later.